Tonight, we are focusing on promotion of Wreaths across America through our owned channels. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get going. Just so everyone is aware, we did a PowerPoint a webinar last year. I think it was in March, Julie, I have to look back. I think it was March or April. And it was really a deeper dive into media relations and building media relationships in your community and public relations. And we can certainly, when we send out the slides for tonight's webinar, I think we can also still link to the old YouTube that's in our playlist from last year, because I do think that's relevant as well. There's a lot of facets to communications, and to keep this as simple as possible, we're kind of trying to break it up a little bit. So tonight we're going to focus more on our own channels. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, and we can look at the one from last year, and you obviously can reach out to any of us if you have more questions about that as well. Julie, how can I make it turn? Oh, I hit the wrong button. That's why. Hold on. I'm not usually driving. There we go. Okay.
Yes, bug.
So tonight we're going to talk about own channels, and these are opportunities. When we talk about own channels, these are opportunities for volunteers to utilize Wreaths Across America channels to promote your own programs and activities. And we'll also talk a little about the value and impact of this exposure. We're going to talk about branding, the Wreaths Across America brand, and why it matters in everything that you're doing. We're going to talk about all the different resources that are available for volunteers throughout the year, because this is certainly a year-long effort, and we have things happening literally starting the day after Wreath Day to help our volunteers be successful in their community. We'll show some examples and we'll talk to some of the examples. And then obviously, of course, we'll have the opportunity to meet the team. You'll be hearing from some members of the team tonight. We do have a pretty fantastic communications team made up of staff members as well as vendors that have been working with Wreaths Across America for many years. As the opportunity presents, we'll introduce people, but at the very end, we'll make sure everyone says hello and everyone knows who to reach out to. So with that, we'll jump right in. So when we talk about the term owned channels, this is something that might seem foreign to someone who's not in marketing communications, but really all that means is that these are the platforms that Wreaths Across America, the organization, has full control over. So we have the full management on what can be shared. It's content that we control. So we utilize these spaces for our own purposes, to promote events, to promote campaigns, to promote the work that you all are doing. So basically, it's what we want to put out to the public. Okay, so examples of own channels are our website. So that's our website. Any content that gets posted on that website is being done so by us, and it's being vetted by us. We have and that includes our featured articles, or we also call it the blog, but it's featured articles, and you have some control over that too. And we'll talk about that in the next slide. We have our monthly newsletters. So we have two big monthly newsletters. The biggest one is called Mission Matters. It goes out the last week of every month, and we have about 165,000-ish subscribers to that. And that's the public, right? So you can be a volunteer and be a subscriber to that, but it's a great place to learn new things that are happening. In every issue, there is a message from our executive director, Karen Worcester. We try and prevent bigger events that are coming up and share content that we think would be relevant to a broader audience. We also have a location connection newsletter, and that's what all of our core volunteers, so that's our location coordinators and our group leaders. So that's about 10,000 people when you count location coordinators, their co-coordinators, and group leaders. And that's what we consider to be our core audience here, because that's you all. You're the people on the ground who are doing the work in your community. So we try to gear that monthly newsletter, which goes out at the end of every month, to things that will be helpful for you. So that includes providing templated materials, providing ideas and maybe campaigns that are happening that we're putting together that we think would be helpful for you, and including templates for those. It provides maybe information about things like this, like the webinar. Each month we highlight what that month's webinar is going to be coming up and where you can go and watch the old webinars. We have our social media guide, and Sam, who will hopefully see. I can't see you, Sam, because I have a screen in front of me. If you're here.
I'm here.
Yeah, hi, Sam.
Hi.
So many people have been working with Sam for a long time. She does a monthly guide, and that includes social media graphics that are on brand, they're approved, they align with different holidays, they align with different things that are happening, and that's stuff, information that you can use at any point. So it's a more of a tool. We see it as an opportunity to try and provide our volunteers with the resources that they need. So if you're ever not sure if you're getting location connection, please reach out to your location liaison. It's very possible that it might be going into your junk folder, or you might have to just accept the sender. It could be going in your junk folder. Maybe you accidentally turned off a setting to say that you didn't want it. So just check, because it's a very useful tool, and we provide all the content for that. Also, we're going to talk tonight about Wreaths Across America Radio. Wreaths Across America Radio is pretty much available anywhere that you want to listen to music on. We're available on iHeartRadio, on Odyssey, and TuneIn, and of course we're available at wreathsacrossamerica.org/radio. That is a growing channel for us, and we'll get more into it and hear from the radio team. But that's an opportunity really for you to share what you have going on in your community, events you have going on. If you have sponsors or major donors you want to try and highlight, it's a great place to be able to share the work that you're doing in a very easy manner. We're very positive. There's no hard-hitting journalism here. We're not trying to do any gotchas. We want people to feel good about learning about what you're doing in your community. And that's really what Wreaths Across America Radio is all about. It's a voice for America's veterans, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. And then, of course, our other own channels that most people are familiar with are social media. And that includes all the social media channels. I know Facebook is pretty predominant for this organization, but we are also on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We're on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And all of those channels are being curated, monitored, and you're creating content for all of those channels on a daily basis. And each of those channels have tools available that you can use and you can share, and you can utilize the work that we're doing, and you don't even have to create your own content in that case. But in our case, for all of these own channels, Wreaths Across America's communications team is trying to create content that can be used across all of these channels, so that we're surrounding people with as much opportunity to learn about the program. And really, when we say learn about the program, we're talking about the work that you all are doing and doing in your community. That's the good work and the stories that we want to share. And these are the channels that we use to do it. So when we talk first and foremost about the website and blog, it's one of those things where people, I think, sometimes forget that with your dashboard through your sponsorship pages, you have the ability to customize the content that your audience sees on your sponsorship page. Also, you also have the ability to, through your dashboard, to post articles or blogs that appear only on your channel. So when you're looking on your dashboard, there is the opportunity to see news, featured news at the bottom. Right now, if you don't put anything custom in those pages, you're going to see the recent news about us that comes from the main Wreaths Across America page. That's what will feed into your channel, into your page. But if you want to, you can go to, thank you, Julie, maybe you can talk through this because I don't want to say it wrong. But if you go to your, into your dashboard, there's a little place where it says news articles, which is highlighted here. And from there, you can select news, and then you can actually go ahead and put in the title of what you want to talk about. You could be talking about an event that's coming up. You could be talking about sharing a local story from maybe a volunteer in your community or a veteran in your community. You can copy, use the features to basically edit it as you'd like, and then actually go ahead and select where you'd like to see that appear, which would be on your specific page. And you can do that and make it so that it's only on your dashboard as a featured news article. So, and if there's any questions about that, I would definitely highly recommend you reach out to your liaison. But I can also, our team can help you give kind of good examples of things that might be fun stories to share. I think that anytime you have an event, it's a great way to highlight what you have coming up, include the who, what, where, when, and how people can get involved. And then and this is also a good time to remind people, anytime you're sharing your dashboard, which is basically your micro website. So it's your website, your sponsorship page is your website for Wreaths Across America. Make sure you always share your custom URL, which is wreathsacrossamerica.org/your-ID. It's the simplest way to send people to your page. Obviously, you can use a QR code as well, but this page is very customizable. Yes, there are limitations to it. However, the limitations are really just there to keep it, neat and tidy. You really can put some customization, and then that's your owned channel. So sharing that and sending out your link to people, it's the best way for people to understand who you are, what you're doing for Wreaths Across America, and how they can sponsor a wreath. And now I'm going to jump into Wreaths Across America Radio. I'm actually going to ask Jeff Pierce and Susan Patton, if you're there, to jump in and talk a little bit about Wreaths Across America Radio. This is our newest channel. It's something that we've had for several years now, but really has been growing, and we've put a lot of time and energy into customizing this for you all. So I wanted to share a little bit more about that. And I can't see you, Jeff and Susan, so I'm going to say go ahead and jump in.
Thanks, Amber. Thank you. So I wanted to, what I consider the best kept secret of Wreaths Across America is Wreaths Across America Radio. So we are available, as Amber said earlier, on all of the major listening platforms and our Wreaths Across America website, wreathsacrossamerica.org/radio. And this radio station is designed for you, the supporter of Wreaths Across America, and for other veterans organizations. So in order for this to work, and I see a lot of folks on tonight that we've already had as guests, and a lot of our Daughters of the American Revolution folks are on the call today, and we do a feature every Monday at 9:15 and 3 p.m. Eastern, featuring the Daughters of the American Revolution. We feature Gold Star mothers, Gold Star wives. We do a variety of things, and of course, a lot of you have probably talked to Susan before. She does a lot of features, including the What's Your Why feature. And we want to talk to you so that we get the information out that your fellow supporters of Wreaths Across America want to hear. And it's really easy to listen. I would love it leaving the call tonight if everybody, took a minute to click the link and gave us a listen after the call. If all of our volunteers in the entire country listen to Wreaths Across America Radio, we would have one of the largest one of the largest stations in the country on the internet, and that is a fact. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you have when you listen, and it's also up on the screen, please email us with any feedback that you have. If you want to be a guest for anything, we want to talk to our volunteers. We have a goal of talking to every single one of our volunteers, our sponsorship groups, all of those things. That's what makes the radio station. And also, if you're working with veterans organizations, we want to get the word out about what they're doing as well. So basically, we want you to help us provide the content for the radio station. I know that sounds like I'm lazy, but really it's about what you want to hear. Susan?
Thank you, Jeffrey. I can attest to the fact, certainly, that Jeffrey is not lazy. I don't know anyone on the Wreaths Across America crew that is lazy by any stretch of the imagination, but it is really great to have you. And just to reiterate a couple of things that Amber said, if you've got special events coming up, use us as you would use your community radio station, because we're serving that same function. The difference is, thank goodness, is that we're delivered on a different platform. So there's there's not the expense that you would have associated with a full-blown radio station. And that's what makes it really special for Wreaths Across America. I think that there's no barrier to listenership. You can tune in on any platform and on our website, and we are there. And I've got to say, it's not just blowing smoke, if you will, but we have had some extraordinary interviews between Karen's Mission Matter shows, Joe Regan's Mission Matter shows, Michael W. Hale's morning show interviews, Jeff's interviews, my interviews. There's been some extraordinary content on Wreaths Across America Radio that really speaks to the fact that our mission is a year-long mission. It's not just a one-day event in December, and we are a voice for America's veterans in that regard. So thank you so much. Jeff is absolutely right. If all of our volunteers associated with Wreaths Across America were listening to Wreaths Across America Radio, it would automatically catapult us to that level of, we are probably one of the largest internet radio stations going. And we really appreciate that. We're humbled. We're humbled every day by sharing the stories and the work that you do. So have some patience, because there are a lot of you out there and there are only a few of us getting the job done, but it's humbling, and let us know how we can help you.
Thanks, guys. And I also want to use this opportunity to remind people that right now is Giving in July. So Michael W. Hale has been interviewing almost daily a volunteer from a sponsorship group in the country, and sharing how they are giving back in their community through the sponsorship group program. As part of that, we provide you the tools. Anytime you do an interview with Wreaths Across America Radio, we provide you with a link for a toolkit where that you can actually promote your involvement in the national interview, because it's actually an international interview. We have many listeners overseas as well. Right. You basically can let your supporters know when and how to tune in. And by doing that, we're just reaching more people. And it's an opportunity to continue to grow that grassroots effort that has been Wreaths Across America to reach new people. So I definitely encourage you, Camry Colbert, who is here, wave Camry. She's been reaching out. Hi, Camry. Camry's been reaching out. She's been plugging away, going through down the list of folks, of sponsorship groups. But if you are a sponsorship group and would like to share what your group is doing in your community, please go ahead and reach out to WAA Radio at readsacrossamerica.org, and we will get you scheduled. And it's not just for the month of July. We'll continue these. Our hope is to continue to speak to groups and locations every day on Wreaths Across America Radio. But obviously Giving in July has given us a reason to really put that effort into trying to find people and share their stories. So
our goal would be to speak with every location and every sponsorship group on Wreaths Across America Radio. And one thing I failed to mention is when you have that interview on Wreaths Across America Radio, we also give you a file that you can share on your social platforms, which is really an opportunity for you to say it in your own words, what the good work that you're doing, and share that with your supporters. Again, all of your Facebook friends are not necessarily participating in Wreaths Across America Radio, but it would be our goal, in Wreaths Across America and Wreaths Across America Radio. It would be our goal to have every one of your Facebook friends and other social media platforms participating in Wreaths Across America. And by sharing this content in your own words, it really does add really a layer of authenticity to what you're doing.
And that is a great segue into the next slide, which I don't even know if you knew, which is social media channels. And social media channels, I think, are, it's one of those things that I think everyone at this point has some familiarity with some channel, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, or maybe it's YouTube, which is, one of the largest search engines. Everyone's familiar, but it can still be intimidating. And I want everyone who's listening to know we completely understand that. I get intimidated. I've been working in this field for a long time. And sometimes, Facebook is changing all the time. There's always new social media channels. It can be overwhelming. And we just want you to know that you do not need to feel overwhelmed. We have people in place to help. So, and Sam Gatcombe, who many of you know, Sam is very quick to help. She will get on a screen share with you to try and help you get set up. If you're new and just need to get a page created, if you're looking for custom graphics, maybe for a cover photo or a profile picture, things like that, she can certainly help you. And the thing is, if she doesn't have the answer, she has a team of people supporting her who we can get the answer for you. So it's one of the easiest ways. Social media is one of the easiest ways to get your word out in your community. We know this every year on Wreaths Across America Day. One of the biggest things that people do is if they can't find information or they don't know where to look for what's happening at your cemetery, the first thing they'll do is go to social media and look up, well, okay, Cemetery of the Alleghenies, like, do they have a Facebook page? And okay, they have a Facebook page, but they haven't posted since, July. So that doesn't help me because it doesn't have any of the information that I need about when their event is and things like that. So making sure that you're staying up to date and relevant, and we can give you those tools and through the social media guide. Like we have, I think, I don't know if Brenda's on, I can't see, but like Brenda's a great example, Miramar National Cemetery. Every month when she gets the social media guide from Sam, she goes in and she schedules for pretty much the month, like different events. I mean, things to put on her page. It's almost like a set it and forget it after that. I mean, she checks in if there's people engaging with her, things like that. But, you really do have the tools. It doesn't have to be a heavy lift. I also want to encourage everybody that I do think if you have a larger cemetery or you have a large group that you're part of, having someone on your team, whether you have a committee or a volunteer who's dedicated just to taking care of and monitoring social media, I do encourage that, because it can get, when you during season and people are asking, maybe they're asking questions about when something's starting and you're busy working on your, finalizing the details of your events and you just can't get to it. People need to be able to be responded to. That's the whole point. These channels are made for two-way conversation. So when we talk about content, we have to remind everybody, as a non-political organization of 501c3, we ask that you keep your personal, political, and denominational, beliefs and feelings personal, and not carry that over to the Wreaths Across America pages, because as an organization, we really should not be talking about politics. Plus, that's also a good way to divide your audience. We ask that you, if you have a page, that you post frequently enough, but that it's, up to date with events and activities so that people, when they're going to your pages, actually have the correct information and they're not looking for it. And then also an easy way for content is to share what we have on our official pages. So Wreaths Across America has channels on all those that we've listed before, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And we have content regularly updated that you can easily share. It's branded, so you don't even have to really think about it. If there's something that you see on one of our pages that you're like, oh, I like that, you can share that on your page, and just, you don't even have to say anything. It's just in a way to keep fresh content on your page. And then when you're doing social media, and again, I'm going to stop talking at one point and let our social team jump in, but I wrote the slide, so I'm going to read the whole thing. But so when you're doing engagement, it's important to just be checking semi-regularly. That's why I recommend having someone on your team who's able to do that at least once a week, because if someone's writing a question in and they haven't got answers, they're going to then come to HQ, or they're going to be frustrated that they haven't been replied to. So engaging with people, replying to their comments, liking comments, and then also just thinking about things that, what are you usually asked about? Like, what are some frequently asked questions that you receive? And social media is a great platform to kind of address all of those things. So we do have some members of our social media team here. I can't see, I know Sam's here. She's a staff member. We have Jordan Barrett, who many people have seen Jordan's name. Jordan manages all of the HQ channels. Jordan, if you're there, wave. And then Michelle LeBlanc. Michelle's actually does more on the strategy and the paid side of things, but with social, but actually has been involved and does a lot with our email marketing as well. But I don't know if you ladies have anything else you want to add there when we're talking about social media, things to keep in mind.
This is Jordan. Hi, everyone. My camera's off. I apologize. But I think you nailed a lot of it, Amber. I would say another good opportunity for content is articles. So we do a lot of this on the HQ page, and maybe you mentioned this, Amber, and I totally missed it. But going to Google and looking up veteran stories or stories about veteran cemetery. There's always something like really uplifting having to do with a veteran who doesn't have any next of kin in the community coming together for their funeral, or a good Samaritan fixing a neighbor's flag. So there's always a good like patriotic story out there, and people love to see those. So it doesn't even necessarily need to be in your community. I mean, bonus points if it is, but just sharing those stories with a little bit of commentary is such an easy way to keep content fresh. So that would be my additional recommendation.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then Sean Sullivan, who many of you know, Sean is our PR manager and does most of the hyperlocal effort and outreach locally across the country. He's constantly sending us coverage of what's happening in the communities across the country, both Wreaths Across America related, as well as other nonprofits, other military related organizations. It's important to share those types of things, especially like-minded organizations. I think I didn't mention that, but if you have, the VFW is holding a local barbecue and they're doing some kind of fundraiser, share that and encourage people to come out and support other veteran and military family events. And then those people are going to be more likely to want to help support your event come Wreaths Across America Day. It goes both ways, and it's important to be looking for those opportunities. And then for everyone, I think Sam's will make sure at the end, Sam's kind of your kind of point person with regards to help with getting started. But your liaison can obviously, I think Sam's info is in the welcome email when you get join as a location or a group leader, excuse me, but we'll make sure that everyone has that.
We did just drop Sam's information in the chat as well, if anyone needs that.
Great. Okay. And so really, we're talking about value and impact here because I think it's important for people to realize that the own channels that we've been talking about, all of these are free to you. They're all free. They're channels that Wreaths Across America maintains. We have a staff that's maintaining them and putting a lot of time and energy into the content development for all of these channels. They're easy to use and they're available to all volunteers. So if you can start with utilizing these own channels to get the word out about what you're doing, your network of support and audience that is involved in your program is going to grow. It's a great place to start. It's a great way to test the waters on how you're, positioning things, how people react. It's just a great level set for being part of the program. Wreaths Across America, we try to use our content across as many channels as possible. So it's not a one hit and done. You do a radio interview, that's going to probably be a social media post. It's probably going to be a blog post, and it might make it into the newsletter. So those are things that you keep in mind, that you're potentially reaching all of these various audiences by just doing one thing. So you're reaching invested audiences all year. You're sharing your successes, and then also by following these channels, by listening to Wreaths Across America Radio, by following the social media channels, by getting the newsletter, you're learning about the success of other volunteers. You're seeing their stories, and you might get an idea, well, maybe I could try that in my community, because you're seeing the success of others. And then you're also really giving your opportunity to reach new people, even though you're talking to an audience of supporters, maybe to start. Those people are then going to talk to other people. So that's how this grows. So that's the impact of utilizing our own channels. And I do think it's really important for us to remind everybody that we have these all available, because our team really does try really hard to reach out to volunteers. And sometimes it's harder than you might think to get people to participate in a lot of the things that we try to do. And it always baffles me, because come season, everyone really wants, that attention, but year round, we have activities. I mean, there's things happening, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple slides, but there's things happening year round that could be drawing attention for your audience. And it's important to not only talk to them come November, December. If you're only talking to people once a year, they're only going to think about you once a year. So, but if you're talking to them all year round, they're more likely to think about you and include you in other things that they might be doing throughout the year. Okay, and then next, I want to talk a little bit about branding. Branding is one of those things that I want to remind people about. It's come up a couple times, well, several times the last, as we grow and we have more and more locations and more groups that are trying to get the word out. People tend to take liberties with how they use our brand, and that we have to be very careful with, because it matters. Our brand is it's much more, it's a name, which Resource Across America. It's our mission. It's the design of and the look and feel of everything that we put out there. It also represents really a set of perceptions people have about an organization. So if you think about Disney World, when people see Disney World, there is a feeling that comes with that. It's the same thing with Wreaths Across America. When people see our brand, they automatically associate it with an event or an experience. And it's a feeling that you get. And that's an important thing that we've taken a lot of time and energy and care with over the last 14 years. It's something that continues to grow and evolve, but we have to be mindful of how we present it out in the public. So a brand can be a collection of marketing elements. It can be your posters, your graphics, your messaging. All of these things together create like a brand identity or image. And it's really important that there be consistency for our brand recognition. And that also helps prevent confusion. When people are giving $15 to Wreaths Across America, they are basically being given they're entrusting us with taking those funds and doing something and fulfilling something that we promised. It's a promise. And if somebody is giving funds to what they think might be Wreaths Across America, but in fact isn't, or there's confusion in the brand, it might actually negatively impact us overall and ultimately negatively impact the effort in your community. So it's important that we really be mindful of this. If you have any questions about the brand, we do have, and actually, Julie, I was going to send this to you afterwards. We do have a brand PowerPoint that very clearly speaks about the things you should and should not be doing. In our resources guides, everything that we make available to you is on brand. And that's very important. That's why we create templates for our volunteers to use, to customize and use, so that there's less work for you. You don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, but we also know that whatever you're using is going to be correct. If you are creating something outside of those templates, it is imperative that you send that to your liaison for approval from our team, me in particular, prior to printing something or putting something on a t-shirt or altering something dramatically. It's very important that if you are a member of the Wreaths Across America volunteer location coordinator group leader, that you get anything that's outside of our templated materials approved, so that we make sure that it's correct and on brand. This goes for images as well. We try to provide, and I will on the next page, we'll share where you can find a lot of this, pretty much all of this. We provide PSAs that you can provide to TV stations. We have PSAs that you can provide to radio stations. We have images, an image library. Actually, we're working on a master image library right now of approved images that we're going to make available later this year. But it really is important that if you're using a photo that is an image of Wreaths Across America, that you know where that photo came from. It either came from Wreaths Across America HQ and we made that available to you and it's a staff photo, or you took that photo yourself, or someone in your community took that photo and gave it to you with permission to use. If you see a professional photo posted somewhere and just take it down and share that, you could be responsible for paying any kind of copyright fees that come with that, especially in this day and age. Photographers take that very seriously. This is their livelihood. They will look to see if photos are being misused. So it's very important that you pay attention to that. And if you ever have any question, when in doubt, ask. We do it ourselves. Like there are wreaths that sometimes you see and you're like, is that a Wreaths Across America wreath? And you get to like squint a little bit. And if you're not sure if it's a Wreaths Across America wreath, please check first. We have a very distinctive wreath, and it's important that we are representing that properly. So the things to think about will include, we'll make that branding. We actually can go ahead and put that up, Julie, on the location and group resources page. That's probably actually a good place for it so that people have easy access. So I'll make sure that happens tomorrow because I do think it's important that people understand some of those basics. And then as we get close to the close here, so things to be thinking about. So our mission is year round. There are things that you can be sharing with your community all year round. You can announce your participation, that's a tough word, in the program every year, whether you're a location or a group. Actually, Sean's going to be posting, we'll be having a new template announcing that you're a sponsorship group. We'll be putting that up on the resources page this week. But it's important to share and let people know that you're continuing to do this program in your community. If you're new, let people know, hey, we're taking up Wreaths Across America in the community, and here's why. That you can put that out as early as January. You can put it out any time of year. It's news. It's relevant to your community. We have, you can put out news about cleanup. You can put anything about new fundraisers that you might be doing in your community that invite the public to attend. You can connect our mission with local and national events. So whether it's Memorial Day, Four Chaplains Day, Armed Forces Day, and Veterans Day, those are all relevant news pegs in the media and in the world that you can tie the Wreaths Across America mission to, whether you're talking to the media, whether you're talking to your community via these different channels. You can be doing things all year round that show that. You can certainly participate in the campaigns that Wreaths Across America's HQ puts out every year, whether that's our STEM to Stone race, where a wreath is placed for every registrant that uses your code, to Giving in July, to our new TEAC program, Flag Waving Tuesdays. I mean, that's a great, easy way. You could participate in that. You could even join our lives if you'd like. And we've provided those directions in our location connection and on social media. But if you're not sure about it, ask your liaison. We'd be happy to have give you a tutorial on how to do it. But you have you can also share the work of other volunteers, other like-minded organizations. These are things you can do all year round that are not reliant on National Wreaths Across America Day to get attention. So just those are things to keep in mind as you're thinking about, well, what can I do to promote what I'm doing now? We have several things that are available for you. The media resources page. This is on, this link is here, and we'll certainly make sure everyone has it clearly. It's on the website as well. We'll give a direct path to it. But here you can find PSAs to download. You can find images that are available. We have videos that are available to you. We have relevant news stories. We have our contact information, logos, things, anything that a member of the media might need or that you want to make available to the media. You can certainly pull there. We're trying to keep that page as updated as we can with useful links. It's one link where you can go and find all kinds of things that you can download that's relevant to you. We have a volunteer resource page. You can also find this from the main website, and we'll make sure that's very clear for everybody, but it's under groups and locations and groups resources. And there's template materials. There's a map, which clearly identifies who your liaison is based on your region and how to contact them. It provides all the materials that you would need to be successful as a location or group leader, as well as some of our social media graphics. There's just so many things there. And then there's the Wreaths Across America team group emails. We have the PR email that goes to Sean and I. So one of us will be able to get back to you. We have the social email that goes to the social team. And we have the radio email that goes to the radio team. So these are just some resources available to you. But obviously, if there's ever any question, I would say your liaison is your first first line of defense, and they'll get you to the right person. I know this is in this slide is in pretty much every webinar that we do, but it's really important. The volunteer resource page is really where you guys should be going to find the tools that you need to be successful for promoting anything involving your local efforts. So it shows you, this page will show you how to get there. It gives you documents that you can then customize. It gives you how to use a QR code, all of those fun things. So highly recommend it. If you have a question, I bet you 9 out of 10 times the answer is on that page. And these are just some examples I just threw on here. I don't know, Sean, if you want to, I don't know what time it is. It's 8:40. We probably don't have a ton of time, but just give some examples. Obviously, you're seeing we have a lot of great coverage happening right now. We're actually seeing more positive coverage in the press right now than any year before in terms of the number of articles and the number of eyeballs that are seeing it, both through social media as well as the press. So it means that our folks that are doing a good job now, and we're very grateful for that. And we're very encouraged by the work that you're doing in your communities and kind of getting the hang of getting the word out there. If you ever want to receive more regular updates, Sean can certainly help provide some kind of updates on the types of coverage that we're getting. But I don't know, Sean, if you have anything you want to add there.
Yeah, Amber touched upon our resource page. One of the resources that's on that page is there's some templated press releases for you that you can do outreach for. Now, we've been doing a lot of talk about, our internal messaging and our internal sources. But when you're reaching out to the media, this is external. So this is that next step. This is public relations for your organization and media outreach. And those resource pages have press releases in there. They're there for you to use. They're also there for you to amend. So that way, if they don't represent what your group is doing, perfectly, or if it doesn't have the right address or something of that sort, you can go in there, change that, and make sure that it represents you correctly. The main thing really is when you use those templates is that they're set up so the media will understand them when they receive them. As you can imagine, most industries have common practices and things that they usually look for. And these press releases have already been set up for that. So this way, it kind of helps get your foot into the door very quickly. And any person at a radio station or a TV station or a newspaper or some other media source, they can look at this and really understand exactly what they're looking for and get all the information they want readily available so they can build their stories. And these are the type of stories they build. I mean, folks think that stories have to be something grandiose and unbelievable in order to make the news. But I mean, you can see from the first one in the corner, it really is just somebody's making a donation. That's news. Somebody in your community cares. Off to the other side in the upper right-hand corner, a group thought it would be fun just to do an event where they voted on who had the fuzziest beard. And they call, the article comes out of Fuzzy Face Fun. These are the type of things that allow you to be creative, do something memorable, help get the word out there, and create something of interest to the media. And the funniest part is you don't have to do anything wild and crazy. It could be something as simple as you look under that beard, somebody's doing a run. We're also,
Sean, and I will say too, we will include, I think I mentioned this in the beginning, Sean, last year we did a much more in-depth webinar on media relations that really kind of got into some of the things that Sean's talking about.
Yep.
We'll include that in the link when we send the email for tonight's webinar slides, because I do think that's a good refresher. And during that one, we actually talked quite a bit about reaching out, building relationships with media, which is, again, that's earned media. And that's something where you actually have to put a little bit of effort, but we try to provide those tools for you. So we'll include that as well when we send the link for this event. Okay, didn't mean to cut you off there, Sean, but we're running out of time, and I just realized that we only have 10 minutes, and I want to give people a chance to ask questions here. So that being said, here's the team. I think you've heard from a lot of folks tonight. We have our emails that are there. You'll get that. Make sure, and I'm sure people have jumped in with their chats, with emails in the chat. And with that, Julie, I think I'm going to stop sharing here and give everyone the opportunity to ask some questions before we run out of, we only have about 12 minutes left here.
Good to me.
Any questions?
Hi, this is Diana Schwartz. I have a question. It's kind of off message from the presentation, but it had to do with the Christmas in July campaign.
Yep,
If
the
you
Giving
could
in July. Yep.
Explain a little bit about it.
So yeah, Giving in July was designed, we started this several years ago, and we kind of using the idea of Christmas in July as a pretty normal, it's a pretty well-known marketing tool, Christmas in July, and put our spin on it, where we're really looking more at giving in July, and in terms of those organizations through our $5 back groups who are giving back to other like-minded organizations in their community through the sponsorship group fundraisers. So through that $5 back, they're helping people in their community all year round. And so we wanted to start highlighting those programs. So it's our opportunity to think about charity and think about giving back during the summer months. A lot of times people think about that during the holiday season, but July just gives us kind of that jump start. So we've been focusing on a lot on our $5 back groups and highlighting the work that they're doing.
Thank you.
And there's tools available if you are a $5 back group, or if you have $5 back groups that are working with you, Diana. It's a great way to help them promote what they're doing to raise money in their community.
Hi, this is Dreama. I'm from the Las Vegas Springs DAR. I am wondering about the upcoming STEM to Stone that'll be in August.
Mhm.
And could you give me a little more information about that and what we might be promoting there?
Yeah, so through the STEM to Stone race, so there's a virtual aspect to that as well as an in-person. I mean, we would love to have you in Maine, Dreama, if you want to come. But if you can't come, there is an opportunity to have a virtual race. So through the virtual aspect, and I think Sean's going to be putting out another round of press around that this week nationally, you can sign up to participate virtually, and every participant, every registration places a wreath. So when you are doing your registration, you can use it as a fundraiser by promoting people joining the virtual race and signing up using your code. So using your group ID, you will then get the wreath allocation for that virtual participant. So we really, you can get and there's no limit to the number of virtual participants there are, and you don't have to run, you can walk, you can skip, you can ride a bike. There's no, you can do really whatever you'd like if you want to sign up. And it's just another way to raise funds and to raise funds specifically for wreath sponsorships and get a wreath allocation. You just need to be clear that when you share it, or when you're letting people know that they need to use your ID, your group ID or your location ID, so that when it's all said and done, when on the back end, we'll know where to allocate that wreath. Yep, I see a hand. Sorry, Jean.
Hi, thank you. This might be to Sean Sullivan, but the Wreaths Across America exhibits that are coming to our location here in Oregon. If we're having a problem getting a place to host it, it's like we had it and then they backed out. Is there any suggestion of what kind of places we should be looking for so we don't have to pay for permits?
Well, Well, the first thing to do is definitely call Don, if you're familiar with Don Queenie, who runs the program. He would be the first resource on that. I would definitely be looking for something that's veteran friendly, that is familiar with the program, whether it be a VFW or something of like that in the area. Also schools and educational facilities, libraries, city halls, have all been very supportive of the program. And if you're having trouble finding a place to hold it, you may even want to make a new friend at your local radio or TV station. They would be glad to either host or even see if they could find a host for you. We have a radio station in the Delmarva area over where, around Baltimore. And that station finds supportive sponsors for their station, and they'll hold things at that location. But that's working in partnership with your local media outlet, which is, once again, just another suggestion. There are many different ways to go in that. And if you need any help, give Don Queenie a call so that we can start working on that with you.
Okay.
Yeah, those
Thank
are all really good
Great.
suggestions. I really like the schools are great. The schools are great. I mean, I know it's out of season. I mean, there's no school right now, but you'd be surprised who might want to host you.
You might also try additionally, in addition to that, are your local service organizations. So your Lions Club, your Kiwanis Club, your groups like that.
Okay,
Knights
Rotary Club. Yep, good idea.
Rotary Club, absolutely. Chamber of Commerce can also be very helpful in that regard to make some of those connections in your local community. And you may be surprised what will come out of the woodwork there.
Yeah.
Those are great suggestions too. And it just sparks me to say sports teams as well, if there's any local sports teams in the area.
There is.
Jane, who's not going to support you? Everyone's going
That's
to.
exactly right.
I will say this, we had a comment from one location that they were, that they stand by us and they wouldn't do it. So I was like, okay, there you go. Anyway, I totally agree with you. It just it's parks and recreations at this one place, and I just really took us off guard. And then they want the
Jane,
city wants to charge a permit, and it's like, come on.
Jane, do you have Don's contact information? If not, maybe Sean or someone drop Don Queenie's contact.
Yeah, we do. We have
Okay.
Don. So I will
give him a call.
suggest that.
I would give him a
Yeah.
call, and then he can help with that. He can help get you
Okay.
going.
Okay, that sounds
Thanks, Jane,
wonderful.
and good luck.
Thank you for your help.
Okay, anybody else? I don't see any other hands. Okay, Christine Brown, I see you waving. Oh, you're on mute, Christine. There you
Okay.
go.
We just had our MEE event and we used a city location, and they said, we don't charge them because Wreaths Across America is a 501c and DAR is a 501c. So we weren't charged for the space at all. So you might remember
Yeah.
that.
Different
when you're
municipalities,
shopping around.
Well,
municipalities are different, so.
right, and
some
we
places
do
might-
have, I agree, it's the 501c. I think it's, I know some of it's education on our part within the state for DAR about the 501c. So, but thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway.
and every town and area there's a lot of differences there and variances. So in one area where they may not require a permit, another area might. I know if you were running an event here where I'm located in Manchester, New Hampshire, that they may also require that you have police there as well as bathroom facilities. So
Right.
each area will be different, and it's important to know what those variances are.
Well, it's like one of our chapters has it set up at Home Depot, but the city of Beaverton is requiring to purchase a permit.
Mhm. So Jean, I'm going to check to see if there's any more questions, and then we can I can also give you a call tomorrow, Jean, and help if we need additional help to make
Okay.
sure that we get that through. So
Okay.
I want to give one
That's
last chance for questions before we wrap up at 9. Dreama, I see your hand up.
Yeah, it's a follow-up to this. How do we find out when they will be in our state or
Yep.
location?
So that is actually, you can also find that on the Wreaths Across America website. We do in our location connection, we've been doing a monthly. So we just posted in the end of June, every place that's going to be in July. There is an article, we did announcement at the beginning of the year for the full calendar, what states we're going to be in and what areas we're going to be in. So if maybe someone can find that news article from the blog and post it for Dreama, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because I'm sort of like want to plan in advance. I'm thinking, well, when are you going to be in Nevada, Southern Nevada specifically?
Mhm.
And it'd be nice, even if it's a year or two from now. I'd like
Yeah,
to.
we don't have that. I mean, we're working on next year's schedule, initial schedule right now for next year. So that's not available yet because we only have one unit and it's in high demand. So
I
just
know.
keeping that in
I couldn't believe
perspective.
we went from all the way to the west, on the west side of back to Florida.
Yeah, no. Ellen, hi Ellen. I like your glasses.
Thanks. I just wanted to give a shout out to the team, the quick responsiveness. We had less than 24 hours, and specifically Sean, Logan, Mel, last week, they turned around. Tara too tried. So just call out, reach out. They'll try and help you if they can. So thank you, thank you.
No, thank you, Ellen. And Ellen was actually responsible. Ellen pulled together the NASDAQ bell ringing that took place last week. So that was a kudos to Ellen who pulling that together, and we were able to help her get that done quickly. And they don't really give you a whole heck of a lot of time when they
They
decide.
do not, but it really gets back to relationship determines results. It was something from 3 years ago, and they just continuing that relationship. It was
Yeah, it was a great thing. Worked out really well. Thank you,
Yes, it
Ellen,
did.
for saying that.
no,
Appreciate it.
teamwork makes the dream work.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are at 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I hope everyone walked away with something today that would be helpful for them as they start to promote. We'll be sending some follow-up emails with the slides, as well as last year's webinar slides from the media relations piece, as well as some of the branding stuff, just to help better inform everybody. And just really, the communications team is here to support all of you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. It's much easier. We're much faster this time of year in getting back to you than we are in December. So keep that in mind. And we hope everyone has a great evening. And thank you all very much for joining us. Appreciate it.